Since we're going to be writing back-end scripts, we need to have some type of server to process those scripts. Now remember, this is a completely different paradigm here. We're actually going to process scripts on the server that would hold the website and then send the result to the browser upon request.
This video is brought to you by OppiePie's Academy.
So I recommend the MAMP package to get started. It's at mamp.info. They have a version for both Windows and Mac OS X, so this will look the same whether you're using Mac or PC. Once you download MAMP, it's going to provide an actual server on your computer, and that server is going to have a number of features like Apache, PHP, and the MySQL database. So here you can see I've loaded this page at localhost:8888/MAMP. And this is essentially the home page that's active on the server itself. And you can see here it's got information about administering MySQL, the database. It shows my MAMP version, and also a link to the PHP info page, which shows the configuration of PHP on this particular system. So you can see all the different possible configuration options. So here you can see, for example, for the calendar module, it's enabled. Now, PHP is an entire programming language in and of itself, and I'm not going to be necessarily teaching PHP here, as it's a little bit beyond the scope of this course, but more showing you how it's used to build a complete system with front-end and back-end. So far, the browser programming we've done in JavaScript is all front-end. So here's an example of some back-end programming to show you exactly how PHP works. When you launch MAMP, you'll see a panel similar to this one in the upper left. I've already started my servers. If I wanted to stop them, there's a stop button right here, and also a checkbox to activate the Apache server, which is your web server, and the MySQL server, which is your database. We don't need that right now, but you might as well start it. And if you look in the MAMP folder on your computer, you'll see that, of course, there are a number of subfolders. The MAMP actual application is here with the MAMP icon, but in here you'll see a htdocs folder, and the htdocs folder is actually where we're going to put our documents that are going to run from the server. So let's put a document here in this htdocs folder. So we'll create the document in brackets or any other text editor. I recommend the use of brackets, of course. And this text editor works just fine for PHP code. So let's go ahead and choose File and New. And PHP apps open and close with a little PHP declaration like this. And again, I'm going to save it in that htdocs folder. Now you have to keep in mind that this is going to be live on the server. So we're going to access it through that local host, which is the actual server address or the server URL locally on your machine here in a moment. So it's in Applications. Let's go ahead and go down to the MAMP folder, and there's htdocs. So we're in the same place. And let's call this hello world.php. All right, so notice, of course, it's saved in the folder. So now we'll write the code for Hello World in PHP. So we're not doing anything terribly dynamic here. We're simply going to print out the text Hello World, but this time from our backend PHP server. So no big surprise here. This is going to look an awful lot like what you saw in Python earlier on in the course. So let's save. And now I'm not going to double click this to run it. I want to run it through the server. So let's bring up a server window here. And we know our server is at localhost:8888, and then a slash, and then hello world.php, the name of the file. And there you see hello world, this time again generated by the PHP. So let's just add a little bit to this. For example, we could embed in here our h1 tag, go ahead and save. I used Command S to save, and refresh, and that's rendered as a H1. And if we look inside of our developer tools, I think you'll find this interesting. What the actual browser gets is just what the PHP produces. So if we look at the actual code here, you notice here we get just the H1 hello world. The rest of this is actually headers and other information. So all we have is our H1 element here. If we look at the source code, that shows it comes from hello world.php, and there's what's produced, H1 hello world.php. So all we get is the result is the PHP code is all processed by the server, and then the result is sent to the browser. So for example, if we were to create a variable here, name, and then print the name variable. All variables in PHP start with a $sign, so it's easy to tell what they are. So here we assigned the string Mark Lassoff to the variable name, and then we printed name. All of the PHP code will be stripped out of here, and the end result that we actually see will be just the result of the processed PHP. So again, localhost 8888 hello world.php, and there you can see the result of our code.